Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. It's the month of January, and again, this is my favorite series that I do, the series I came up with called Time Capsule. And what it is I pick a year based on the year I'm doing it in, and I show you my personal favorite albums of the year. Now, I do one video for each year, so they can get pretty extensive, but it's nice and easy. So right now, there are 21 videos. If you go to playlists, Time Capsule, favorite albums by year, there are 21 videos there, one video for each year. And basically why I love it, and hopefully you do, is I am giving you basically the history of rock and roll. And I was starting it initially in 1971, and because I started my channel in 2021. But as you know, I now have moved it up to 1965 because it was requested, and it was a really good idea. So today, we are doing 1975, and I'm excited because I'm a child of the 70s, and the 70s is prime rock and roll. It is mind-boggling how many great albums came out each year of the 70s, and the 80s to an extent as well. It's mind-boggling, especially when you compare it to music today, where rock and roll pretty much doesn't exist. I own 129 albums that came out in 1975. Now, in the past, these time capsule review episodes, I didn't show a huge amount of albums. I selected my favorites, and then I ended it with my top 10. What happened was I'm getting a lot of comments on those videos saying, how'd you not include this? How'd you not include this? You don't have it? And I'm like, no, of course I have those albums. And they're like, well, why didn't you show it? And you know what? You're right. So I was talking to Martin and others, and they were like, show the damn albums. This is supposed to be the history of rock and roll. According to your taste, show the albums. So I'm not going to show you 129. That's a lot. But I am going to show you a lot. I'm going to show you 89 albums today that all came out in 1975, and I'm going to end it with my top 10. So without further ado, let's do it in alphabetical order, 1975, and here we go. These are going to bring you back. Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic. Now, I'm not really going to be commenting too much on the albums. It would just take too damn long. But I'll comment on some of them. Like this one, probably the worst Allman Brothers studio record, Win, Lose, or Draw. Okay. The debut album by Angel. As you can see, this is a twofer. I don't know if you remember Angel, but pretty good band. Bad Company's second album, Straight Shooter. A great, great follow-up. I'm sure you will agree. Joan Baez, Diamonds and Rust, the classic title track that she wrote about Bob Dylan. Quite possibly definitely one of my favorite band studio records. I love this album. Northern Lights, Southern Cross. Great band album. Bebop Deluxe, Futurama. Jeff Beck's classic, Blow by Blow. Elvin Bishop, Strutting My Stuff. See how that had that big hit, Fooled Around and Fell in Love. Black Sabbath, Sabotage. Blue Oyster Cult's classic double live record, On Your Hands or on Your Hands or on Your Knees. I had to think about it for a second. It's from the box set. Tommy Bolin, Teaser. David Bowie, Young Americans. This is a deluxe edition, as you can see. Okay, David Bromberg. This is a 2 CD set on BGO, but the album he put out that year was Midnight on the Water, 1975. David Bromberg. Eric Clapton's live album EC was here. Great cover. In fact, I like the cover better than the album. Alice Cooper's classic solo record, Welcome to My Nightmare. I remember watching the TV show of that back in 1975. I was 12 years old. Deep Purple, a new version, Come Taste the Bands. And that's a good version of Deep Purple. I like the Coverdale Glenn Hughes period. That's a good one. This might surprise people, but it's pretty good. An Evening with John Denver, and this is a deluxe 2 CD edition. And my wife's a fan, and I could deal with him on occasion. Dr. Feelgood, you overseas pub rockers, unknown here in the United States. Not one, but 2 albums that year, Down by the Jetty and Malpractice. This is a really great set, by the way. This box set that I picked up when I was in London. One of 2 Bob Dylan albums that year. This is the one you're going to see so far, the classic The Basement Tapes. It's a 2 CD set. And the Eagles, One of These Nights. This is a cool version. I don't know if you can see, but it's a CD, but it's got the embossing. This comes from a special Eagles box set, which is really sweet. All right. How you holding in? We're only getting to the F's, but we're making a good pace. Dan Fogelberg, Captured Angel. Foghat, Fool for the City. Oh, that one. Slow Ride, Fool for the City. Big hit back in the day. Peter Frampton, right before he was going to crack it open with the Frampton album. Gentle Giant, Free Hand. Grand Funk Railroad, my favorite live album by them, one of my all-time favorite live albums in general, Caught in the Act. One of my favorite Grand Funk albums. If you don't like Grand Funk, give that one a listen, you'll like it. Grateful Dead, Blues for Allah. Nice version of that CD. Steve Hackett's debut solo record, Voyage of the Acolyte. Nice version of that with bonus tracks. Steve Hillage, Fish Rising. Hot Tuna, not 1 but 2 albums in 75, America's Choice. One of my favorite tracks ever, Serpent of Dreams. This is a great one. And Yellow Fever, also in 75. Back in those days, sometimes bands would release more than 1 record a year. Very prolific. Ian Hunter, his classic debut album, Ian Hunter. This is the 30th anniversary edition right there, which is really sweet with bonus tracks. How about Jethro Tull, Minstrel in the Gallery? Love this one. Just outside my top 10. Just outside. Okay. Jefferson Starship, also just outside my top 10. Red Octopus, I think it's their best album. I love this album. This is a great one. And if you were around in 1975, that was a big hit with Miracles and other ones. Elton John, he did something at that time that I don't think anybody had done. He put 2 albums out that year, and both entered the Billboard charts at #1. Now, of course, now that happens all the time, or it did for a while. But back then, it never happened. Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, and one of my least favorite Elton John albums, Rock of the Westies. Both of these albums entered U.S. Billboard charts at #1, both same year. The Kinks did 2 albums in 1975, Soap Opera, The Story of Norman. And they did Schoolboys in Disgrace. And these were the final albums on RCA. After that, they would get away from the thematic things. Kiss did 2 albums in 75, Dressed to Kill. And the album that broke them hugely, Kiss Alive. Okay, keep going. How about Little Feat, the last record album? How about the debut solo album from Nils Lofgren? This was just outside the top 10 for me as well. This is a really good Nils Lofgren album. If you like Nils, this is a good one to have. Very cool cover, by the way. Okay. Leonard Skinner. Nothing fancy. Looks like that. Marshall Tucker Band. Man, I was a big Southern rock fan. And this was a great one. Searching for a Rainbow was a big hit for Marshall Tucker Band right there. Can't you see? And other songs. How about Joni Mitchell? The Hissing of Summer Lawns. All right. We are into up to N. Pretty cool, huh? How about Nectar Recycled? This is a great Nectar album. Willie Nelson, Red-Headed Stranger. Great album. Amadon, I just picked this one up last year. Mike Oldfield. The Outlaws debut album, continuing that Southern rock vein. This is a great debut on Arista. Parliament, Mothership Connection. A lot of variety, right? Queen, A Night at the Opera. Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. Linda Ronstadt, Prisoner in Disguise. Bob Seger, Beautiful Loser. Paul Simon, Still Crazy After All These Years. I remember him performing that on Saturday Night Live back in 1975. And I was 12 in 1975. Patti Smith's classic debut, Horses, just outside the top 10 for me as well. Great album. Again, all of these are pretty much great albums. I think all of these are, if not great, really, really special. This one just outside the top 10 too. Bruce Springsteen's legendary Born to Run. Didn't go top 10 for me, not because it's not incredible, but I just don't listen to that much. Even then, it was kind of played out. I think the best solo album by any member of Yes, except Rick Wakeman. Chris Squire, Fish Out of Water. And this is the deluxe expanded edition. Status Quo. On the Level. I don't want to annoy anybody with Status Quo. Status Quo. Steely Dan, Katie Lied. Al Stewart, Modern Times. That Hypnosis cover too, cool one. Styx, Equinox. Richard Thompson, not one but two, Hokey Pokey. And Richard and Linda Thompson, Pour Down Like Silver. Hokey Pokey was Richard and Linda Thompson too, if I forgot to say Linda Thompson. My apologies. How about Triumvirate? Some people said they were a poor man's Emerson, Lake and Palmer, but I thought they were pretty good, and I like this one a lot. Spartacus. Always loved their covers. Good album covers. This is a great album cover by UFO Force It. And this has got the bonus tracks. We're up to W. How about Wet Willie and Dixie Rock on Capricorn. Neil Young, not one but two in 1975. Tonight's the Night. And the classic, they're all classic, Zuma, Neil Young and Crazy Horse, 1975. We got two more. Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention, One Size Fits All. And the last one out of these, ZZ Top's Fandango. Right there. All right, so there you have, pretty quickly in, I don't know, 15, 16 minutes, we just covered, that had to be about 80 albums that came out in 1975. Pretty astonishing, wasn't it? I mean, look at the variety, and they're great. I mean, classic, really good, or great, excellent albums all in one year. Could you imagine that happening now? It's so sad. But we're not done yet. There's still some more. Let's look at some vinyl that we didn't show you yet. How about Jay Giles Band? Hotline. Cool graphics, too. It came out like that. Jay Giles. Okay. Here's that band that I really like. This Moroccan band. Moroccan, French. Less Variations and Café de Paris from 1975. I just dropped a bunch of stuff. They had the two albums, Moroccan Roll and this one, different lead singers. You can't get it on CD. I only wish somebody would put those two albums out. Less Variations. You know, huh? My girl, Olivia, my woman, Have You Never Been Mellow? Pure Prairie League. Two-Lane Highway. Great track. Good album, too. Alright, save this one. Oh, for you people in Australia area, how about Skyhooks? Ego is not a dirty word. Crazy artwork they were. Okay. And what else we got? We got Rick Wakeman. My favorite Rick Wakeman album came out that year. The Myths and Legends of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Love it. And Ronnie Wood. 1975, he was touring with the Rolling Stones as a guest guitarist and put out Now Look, his second solo record. Okay. Are we done yet? We're not done yet because you're like, there's got to be some other ones that are missing. And there are. My top 10 favorite albums from 1975. Now, how do I do it? I always do it by play. These top 10 albums are the albums that I played the most. And to me, it's all about play. It's not being about snooty and critic and how much do you listen to the stuff. It's music. It's meant to be played. So my top 10 are based on how much I played them. Are you ready? 1975, the top 10 albums of the year. For me, based on play. Number 10 is going to be a shocker, but if you know me, I'm a big Southern rock fan, and I was a huge fan of Charlie Daniels Band. I've talked about Fire on the Mountain, which came out in 74, one of my favorite albums of all time. 1975, he released Knight Rider. Of course, I had it on vinyl. I had all of these on vinyl. This is definitely not nearly as good as Fire on the Mountain, but I played the hell out of this, and I still love it. Willie Jones, Franklin Limestone, Funky Junkie, Birmingham Blues. This is a great Charlie Daniels Band album. They were a rock and roll band, make no mistake back then. That's number 10. Number 9, I talked about Wings Over America being one of my favorite albums of all time and favorite live albums of all time. But the album that came out before that was Venus and Mars, and boy, did I love that album. I got multiple versions of it, and that was my number 9 album of the year. Venus and Mars, Rock Show, Letting Go, Spirits of Ancient Egypt, Medicine Jar. Wasn't a huge fan of listening to what the man said. Venus and Mars, number 9. for me, biggest album from 1975. Let's keep going at number 8. A little bit of an understated Who album. It doesn't compare to the big classics that I talk about, but the Who by Numbers I play a lot. And that's my number 8 most played album from 1975, especially How Many Friends, Blue, Red, and Gray, They're All in Love, Imagine a Man, Slip Kid, However Much I Booze. Kind of introspective Townsend Who album. Certainly works. We got 10, we got 9, we got 8, we got 7. Renaissance, Scheherazade, and Other Stories. Man, I play this album to this day. Ocean Gypsy, the song of Scheherazade, one of the greatest extended pieces in the history of music. You heard that right. Vultures Fly High is a good rocker as well. Let's keep going. That there. Next up, we got Bob Dylan and Blood on the Tracks. Came out really early in 75. And what can you say about this classic album? It's amazing. At number 6. At number 5 is going to be Bob Marley and the Wailers Live. I talked about this in my live albums, and it is a perfect live record. For me, it's my favorite Bob Marley album ever. It's perfection. Okay, let's stick you up there, Bob. Mr. Marley. Okay. What are we up? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. At number 4, Fleetwood Mac. I like to call it the White Album, the first album with Buckingham Nicks, and a revolutionary album, a huge hit, and deserves all the accolades. Still sounds fantastic. Fleetwood Mac at number 4. At number 3, it's going to be Pink Floyd and Wish You Were Here. This was the ultimate headphone album for me. I actually bought it in 1975 on 8-track, which was one of the stupidest things ever because it didn't have all that amazing packaging. But it sure sounded great on 8-track because I used to go to sleep with it with my headphones on, and 8-tracks would repeat. So eventually I'd fall asleep. My parents would shut it off, and I would fall asleep to Wish You Were Here all the time. It is perfect Pink Floyd album. At number 2, might surprise some, but give it a shot. It is the Rolling Stones compilation called Metamorphosis. It's a lot of people don't even consider it an official Rolling Stones album because Alan Klein put it out. There's 2 versions of it initially. This is from 75. That's the original version. And then the UK version was this one. And the UK version added 2 extra tracks, which was Some Things Just Stick in Your Mind and We're Wasting Time, which were 2 of the weakest songs on the album. You really don't need them. But the thing about Metamorphosis is, to this day, it's a go-to Stones album for me. I still listen to it regularly. I listen to it a couple of times every year. And when ABKCO put out the remastered, redone Stones albums on SACD, I was thrilled that they put out Metamorphosis. And it sounds great. It's a terrific listen. Yeah, it's demos, it's outtakes. It's a fabulous listen. Metamorphosis at number 2. What's my number 1 album of the year from 1975? Led Zeppelin and Physical Graffiti. I got multiple versions. This is the 3-disc edition, bonus track, remastered again. I must have 5 different versions of Physical Graffiti. But this is a spectacular album. One of the greatest double albums of all time. It's my favorite Led Zeppelin album. I think it's the best Led Zeppelin album. There you have it. The top 10 from 1975. Number 10, Charlie Daniels Band, Night Rider. Number 9, Venus and Mars from Wings. Number 8, The Who by Numbers. Number 7, Renaissance, Song from Scheherazade. Number 6, Bob Dylan's Blood on the Tracks. Number 5, Bob Marley and the Wailers Live. Number 4, Fleetwood Mac. Number 3, Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. Number 2, The Rolling Stones, Metamorphosis. And the number 1 album, 1975, Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti. And behind that, I don't know, about another 79 albums that are all excellent, phenomenal, classic, somewhere in that range. And again, you want to get depressed, look at the breadth of 1975. The amazing albums. And I didn't show you all of them because I got 129. I still left 40 out. And I, of course, don't have every album either. Compare that to today. Rock music really is dead, and it's a shame. But at least this series, Time Capsule, we are going through the history of rock and roll year by year. So, we did 65 the other day. That was a minor video. 75. This is a big one. But so are the other ones to come. Next up is going to be 1985, and then 1995, and then 2005, and 2015. The game plan is to do them all in the month of January. That's my Time Capsule month. I hope you're enjoying this series. If you're new to the Alan Rosenberg Show, hit subscribe. Check out favorite albums by year, Time Capsule. All of these videos are there. It's convenience. You learn the history of rock and roll by seeing it. One video for each year. I think it's a really good series. I hope you agree. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching the Alan Rosenberg Show. And I'll see you next time when we do another Time Capsule. Let's be around.